All right, just an update. I took the handrail off. I got that laying off to the side. So that way we can go ahead and I got these trim put on. So that way everything's taken care of. The filler around the door and started working on some of the steps here. Other than that, went ahead and got the bar or the mantle sanded down. This was a very rough to the point where if you touched it, you were getting splinters. So now it's actually somewhat smooth and we're just going to apply some paint to that. Because this is the stairwell now. I still got to change out the light, but you can see I got this trim here on the sides. I got the first coat on and I actually got the big beam down the middle, the first coat of white on that now too. And you can see the hole that used to be right there is now filled in. So, and all the trim up here in the stairwell also. So now that's actually starting to look pretty good. I might just need to go over it one more time. That'll be good. But now we're going to start on these stairs. All right, working on the steps, and you can see this is an example of how much dirt is underneath the carpet. This one I just pulled up and took the tack strip off so you can see how much is there. So you can see they have a tack strip here, and then underneath there's another tack strip here. And then in between there, it just gets filled with dirt. So you can see I'm going to go through and finish pulling the rest of this stuff and all the staples off, just like I did this this step. And then we're going to keep going. All right, this shows how it was all put together. And you can see I already got staples out of all down to here. And you can see they had some in the face, then the two tack strips I was talking about before. Then they had the padding and then carpet over top of that. So now you can see how this whole thing was put together. But you can see they used to have little pieces of carpet on each step. You can see the color variation. And that's pretty much what we're going to go back to, a version of that. Got more done, just got to get staples out of here. All right, all the nails and staples have been pulled in all the stairs, including up the sides on all of it. So now it's time to start getting the stairs prepped. Did find there's a split down behind here that there's a crack that runs this way. So what we're going to do is actually go through, and I have some liquid nails I'm going to put on there, and I'm going to clamp it across so that way we can get rid of that. I'll show you the crack here in a second. All right, now you can see where it's split, and there's one starting to appear on the other side too. So I'm going to basically clean this up, get this finished off. Then we're going to put some liquid nail on there and then put this piece of plywood on each side, clamp it on, and that'll bond everything back together again. And then over top of this, that's what these two holes are for. We'll just drill those back out again, but that's where these are the poles. They actually bolt through that on each side for the handrails to fasten onto. So we're going to go ahead and get this cleaned up and liquid nailed and clamped. All right, just wanted to show you what I meant by basically cleaning it up so that way it can bond to it. Because that's that side, and this side, you can see it was starting to split down here also. So now, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and use the liquid nails, put that on here, get all this clamped together so that can dry. And I think what I'm going to do is with some of this leftover, I'm actually going to put it in between these grooves just to help seal it up. Because I don't have anything else to use the nails for, and now it's going to be open. So we're going to go ahead and do that, and I'll come back and show you how it looks. All right, bottom's on and clamped, and I did have enough that I went through and hit all of them. That's actually liquid nails, using it almost like a caulk, and I did it down the sides also. Don't know how it's going to turn out, but we'll see if that keeps the little gaps from showing back up. But we did that side, and we did this side also. So we'll see how that turns out. Like I said, other than that, it was just going to be a waste for me because I didn't have any other way to really save it. All right, we'll let this dry for a day or two. All right, this is what we use to fill all the holes. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to start at the top and then just work our way down to filling in all the holes. All right, I'm going to show you how we did most of these holes. Literally take their stuff, rub your finger in, you'll get a little bit of this, and you can see the hole right there. Literally, it's just put it in there and actually smash it down in there pretty good. And you can see that one's good. Now I got enough for this hole. I can go over some of these other ones with that same amount. Basically, you want to mash it in the holes and there's any leftover that falls off, that's fine. We'll just sweep that up later or get it when we sand it off. All right, but you do the same thing with all the holes everywhere. But this one I can see a little burr, so make sure you don't run your fingers and get splinters. Here we have a spot that was really damaged. So what I did is actually I went through with a punch and the hammer and actually put a bunch of little holes here, and I'm going to fill this over and then I'll sculpt it with a sander later. So this way it gives something for the stuff to bite into, so it's not just a smooth piece for it to slide off of. So that's how we're going to repair this real bad spot. But making progress. Everything else is done down to here. I just got this one and then the last one and we're done. Got it all filled in. You can see what I was talking about. So if you look at it, it's actually not smooth in any way, but this will get shaped with the sander to get this nice round bevel put back on it. But that's how we're going to repair this. Just wanted to give an update. You can see I got all the stuff on. All holes are filled. Everything's ready to go. We got this side also. Everything is good. So now the next thing is going to be sanding and then painting. All right, it's a little dark and I didn't show it, but I'm including this in part of the stairs because there used to be, they had some wiring that ran down along this edge and it came down and there was a receptacle down here. So now what I ended up doing was I pulled it back and I have the power turned off to this. So what we're gonna end up doing is relocating this, and I'm gonna put the receptacle over here in the wall. So that way this can plug into it, the TV can plug into it, and I don't have to run extension cords like we had before. So for this, I know it's a thin wall, so I ended up getting a thin box. So now I just gotta get this put in. So I'm gonna go ahead and get all the panels and this stuff taken down and I'll get started on it. All right, I lost some video here, but you can see at the very top up here, I used a hole saw and cut that out. And you can see the foam that's down there behind it. So that foam doesn't travel all the way down on this side. This is where a wooden support is. So you can see I got the wood. I'll get the plastic out of the way. I got the wood in here. It's hard to see, but right there is the edge of the beam. So I literally cut the box right at the edge of it. So what I did is this foam that runs all the way up there, I took this panel, lifted the edge, put it on top of the foam, and basically put the foam over it so everything's mashed in there. So from the top down to here. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and I'll get my box on and get it wired up, but that's all I was gonna do for this. All right, we got it all hooked up. Now let's test her out. Good, so that's what we're looking for. 2 yellow is good. And you can see it's actually in there nice and tight. We'll call that done. All right, initial sanding is done. You can see it still needs more, but this was about an hour's worth of work with power tools. So you see I've been using a palm sander and a belt sander where I can. So I'm trying to hit the edges with the belt sander across the flats, but then the other uprights, the risers, I have to do with the palm sander. You can see I got those 4 done with the palm sander, and I got to do the rest down here with the palm sander and then hit the sides. So now we have everything sanded and painted. I got everything, including the sides, everything done. You can see even where the bolt holes went through, where I doubled things up to make it a little bit stiffer. They've all been covered. Everything is nice and smooth and sanded down. So now we're gonna go ahead and paint. This is gonna be actually 2 tones. So the top is gonna be lighter than here. You see you got first coat on all the stair treads, going all the way down. And when I did that, I went ahead and put another coat on that mantle also. So now that has 2 coats, that's done. And now I just gotta finish this. This was just cleaning some of the brush off the side, so that way I didn't have to rinse as much paint out, because that's gonna get painted a different color anyway. So that's where we're at right now. I'll show you in a little bit what the next thing I'm doing. All right, so we got the stairs done, and I got crazy with the paint, went ahead and did these. I got this pole done, and I'm gonna do the face of these with the same paint so you can see roughly what it's gonna look like, the contrast between the two. So the only thing I have to do now is paint these, but I gotta wait for these to dry so I can get on there and tape these off. So we're making progress with it. So it's been the next day. You can see I got the tape on there to go ahead and do these. But before I paint this, I want to go ahead and get the cover for this pole built. So we're going to work on that right now. All right, so I tried to just put it together with the nailer that I have, but the nails are a little bit too short, so I'm going to have to get other ones. But what I ended up doing is, you can see I got each one glued together and then clamped. So these are the two halves, and then they'll stand upright to go around this pole. So we're going to let that dry for at least an hour or so before I do anything with it. So I got the beam covered up now. This is just a fake cover. There's actually a structural beam underneath there to support this. So you can see, and the top, once I get this painted the darker color, then I'll put trim around it, and I'll touch up all the white and everything else on here. And then when I do the flooring, there'll be a trim that goes around down here also. So we're done with that for now. So now I'm done with this. You can see I went through, you can see the little bit of white here from this, just basically filling in the seams and everything. So now that's ready for paint, which means I can go ahead and get this painted too. So we're going to get started on that and be back. Now you can see what it's going to look like, because I got all the risers painted, those done. I do got to go back and do a little bit of the touch up on the light spots near the top where I bumped it with the dark stuff. But one more coat with the light on here and we'll be done. But for right now, I'm going to go through and pull the tape off so it doesn't stick. And there's down. I got to do light. I think we're working that next. Now we got these put back on. You can see they're nice and sturdy. They're not going to go anywhere. The thing that makes these difficult is it's not just bolting them right to the wood. I actually have, it's hard to see it, but there's an iron plate that we have run across from one side to the other, and it bolts to that. So that way this is technically not sitting on the concrete, the iron is. But so that's all on there now. Next thing I gotta do is get everything cleaned up, because I got them a little dirty playing with them, and then we'll get the railings put on. Just in case you notice this rug is sitting here, this whole floor is going to get redone anyway, but this is literally just sitting here right now, just as a spot to wipe feet off before walking up the steps. Just trying to keep the dirt on there to a minimum. So I got the original, I put the hardware back on here, and you can see it up at the top also. So now I'm going to get the pole itself and get the little bottom pieces so this can sit on top of it. And then we'll put it up on top. So you can see now we got these on, but they are a little wobbly in the middle. So I'm going to go up here in the sides, and then we're going to put one more of these brackets with the little strap up underneath to support it in the middle. All right, so these are not in the same places they were originally, because now I got a better anchor point on that side, and I have a better one here. Before they were just anchored into the drywall, up above here. Now I got them actually anchored into the wood, so they're much stiffer now. I mean, they're not load bearing or anything, but they will definitely assist you going up and down the steps now. All right, on to the next step. All right, this is something I was doing to the stairs too. So you can see here, I got some wiring pre-run, but every single step I have to solder on both ends, because this is a strip tape that comes all the way down. And so right now I'm using this as my power source for my soldering iron. And that's how we've been doing this every step at a time. So I'll show you here after we get done. All right, so I got everything done. We'll turn it on here. You can see now every step is lit up. And these are actually unique, where you can actually change the colors based on what you want. Or you can even make them do different things. So from the top, this is what you got. Or you can just do specific colors, or even just white. All right, so we're gonna call that good for now. I still gotta go through and install the carpeting now. All right, there it is, the carpet on. I'm gonna call that good. I do gotta go do some touch-up paint, but that's not gonna be on this. Next project, change the light.